The greatest tool the devil uses is fear. So when you live in fear, you're literally blocking your blessings. If we can agree on this simple concept, if you live in fear of taking that risk, you're literally blocking your blessings. If we can agree on that, the rest of the video is going to make sense. Watch the entire video. We're going to talk about what you should do versus starting a credit repair business or continuing your credit repair business. I'm going to recommend that you do business funding, right? Because if I was to start again from zero, I would literally focus on business funding, and I'm gonna cover in this video why you should do that, right? So if you're new, maybe you need to see proof. You don't know me from nowhere. We're gonna go over it, right? Because proof is important. So when you go to my YouTube channel, I have case study videos, right? You have one of my students right here, Khaled. He was able to get a $50,000 0% interest business credit card, through my plug. We have Ali here. He made $30,000 in a day funding his client, right? So these people are getting these results because they're focusing on business funding, right? You have also Gary, $12,000 in a day because he focused on business funding. You have Brian right here. He made $7,500 in a day focusing on business funding. So when it comes to the whole credit repair thing, obviously these high payouts and everything is not common in credit repair. So that's why you want to focus on business funding. If you go to my IG, my phone going off, business is still going while I'm recording. So if you go to my IG, you go to client 152 over here, you can just keep scrolling and scrolling and just seeing like what it is, right? You could see students I've helped, you could see my own results. I like bragging about my students versus myself, but yeah, you see all that information here. So go ahead and check that out too. And then you can go to the posts on my YouTube channel. So, the proof is there, right? Just do your due diligence and you'll be able to see the proof. I don't have time to validate myself till 3 a.m. All right, so the old way to scale your credit repair business. The old way was just getting as many credit repair clients as possible, and then you're calling that scaling. That was what I tried to do when I first started my business in 2021. I was like, okay, cool, I'm getting results. I was doing a little bit of funding, but I wasn't really focused on the business funding like that back then. So the new way to scale your credit repair business, leading with business funding as your core offer and using credit repair as a byproduct, secondary offer when appropriate. You can scale inward when it comes to scaling. You can scale inward. So this is focusing on your existing pipeline. So if you're watching this, you might have a credit repair business already. Maybe you do at least 5K a month, maybe 5 to 10 to 30K a month or wherever you're at, right? If you focus and implement what I'm telling you to do, you're going to add extra money to your business. And this is obviously a free video, right? So focusing on your existing pipeline, scaling outward is basically growing your business through marketing efforts. So YouTube, outreach, just different marketing channels or ads, stuff like that, right? So ideally, you already do have some results and some clients in your pipeline if you're watching this. And when we talk about the offer, we already have it, and it's essentially helping business owners get access to business funding. You get a 10% kickback on the back end. So now we've essentially solved your offer problem. If you had an offer problem before, you weren't offering the business funding. My phone keep going off. I'm sorry about that if you can hear that. We solve your offer problem if you have a cheap credit repair offer, right? Even if you charge $1,000 for credit repair, obviously business funding is going to be more lucrative, more profitable. If you get one client $50,000, 10% of that is 5,000. So you already know what it is, right? So we've effectively solved your offer problem if you just are literally only focusing on the credit repair aspect. We're going to talk about the 4 steps you got to be aware of. So let's get straight into it. Number one, you want to identify your ideal client. So this is client avatar discovery. If you already have clients in your existing pipeline, tap into those leads first. They might not be dead leads, they might be good leads. Stop focusing on poor people. That's the main thing I want y'all to know. I had to bold that. Stop focusing on poor people, right? You ideally want to work with non-restricted industries, people in non-restricted industries. So when we talk about that, I'm talking about the NACES code. So when we talk about something like trucking, it's a high risk industry. Can you get funding with that? Yes. Have we gotten people funding with trucking? Yes. But the thing is, it's going to be more high risk than an alternative industry. So you just want to do your due diligence research and make sure that you're operating in that. So when you're doing your ads too, when you're running your ads, you want to call out these rich people, these rich business owners, and also when you're doing your content as well, right? So this is what you want to do when you're modifying and focusing on the business funding as your core offer. So let's look at the Cat Credit Bulletproof Scaling System funnel real quick. I can get this out the way, get that out the way. So this is a funnel that I basically use as a foundation for teaching my students. And basically, it's the customer journey. It's the whole funnel. How someone follows you, becomes a client, pays you, etc. Right? So it's modified for looking at it from the credit repair aspect, but you can apply it to the funding aspect when you want to put that at the forefront. So you see here at the top, it's blue. Notice it's color coded. So when someone becomes a new engager, they might be looking at your YouTube, they might be looking at your ads, they might be looking at your reels online, right? So there's different methods for people becoming new engager. Eventually, they become a follower. Like, oh shoot, I like what this person is saying. This person is giving good information, that type of thing. Like, how y'all watch me? You feel me? That's how it goes. So they become a follower, and then we can get into the technical stuff like doing retargeting ads, VSLs. You could say this is an example of a VSL for current credit repair business owners to help them scale. We talk about content as well, IG and YouTube. We're going to talk about that content. Then you give them a call to action. You're going to have a call to action at the end of this video, right? And you probably see call to actions in some of my other videos. This is all business. You have to understand this is a system. So then they become a lead. Maybe they get a freebie that helps them get a win. Because we live in this age where everybody's scamming and everybody's just so scared that everybody's a scammer, right? Even though that's stupid because going back to what I said in the beginning of the video, the devil uses fear to hold people back from taking a risk. So if you're watching a video like this, you see all these receipts of people I've helped, people I've gotten funded, but then you're just thinking like, okay, everything is still a scam. You're stupid and you're holding yourself back, right? So do your due diligence, obviously. Make sure the person has results, like myself. But at the end of the day, you gotta take that risk. It is what it is. And you give yourself the guarantee. Don't rely on me. Don't rely on somebody else you invest with to give you the guarantee. You guarantee yourself. So once they're a leads into a conversation, maybe it's in the DMs, maybe it's a call. It goes into a call, and then you make them your offer. So right here, it's structured as like your credit repair offer. So maybe it's 1 to 2,000. But like I said, you could flip it for the funding. So they become a customer, they do their onboarding and everything. You do your fulfillment of your service essentially. You get them the results, and then the Ascension offer, which I structured here, is basically going into the funding. So the call, you could skip all this, go into basically the fulfillment. You get paid your maybe 5 to 15,000 if you funded them 50 to 150,000, right? So then you put money back into ads and you do it again and again. So that's the whole cat credit bulletproof scaling system. If this is not the first video of mine you've watched, you've probably seen me break this down. So yeah. So hopefully that makes sense. So once we identify our ideal client avatar, that's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Let me not say it's gonna be hard. So it may be hard as far as depending on what your business is right now, getting those new clients, but it's not impossible. I'm going to give you something for free at the end that's going to help you attract high quality clients. You see how I have that call to action? If you want to just grab that call to action already, you can just click the link in the description or click the link in the comments. It'll be there too. But number two is have authority. So you got to show proof. You see how I showed y'all proof in the beginning? If you go to my YouTube channel, you go to the channel, you click on post, the post tab. You'll be able to see results and stuff of people I've gotten funded as well, right? And then I showed y'all the proof videos you can literally go watch of students I've already helped with transformations. So you got to show proof of people you've already funded. If you haven't done it yet, if you haven't gotten no one funded yet, just document your journey or help people get funded for free. It's going to be a high ROI activity in the future, anyways. So keep that in mind. Number three, this is very, very important. And this is where a lot of people mess up. This is where cheap people tend to like just mess up their whole situation because they decide to have a cheap mindset. This is why you got to invest in yourself, right? I ain't planning on having this on, but I just have it on. So you need these bank relationship managers, and you need them because it's going to basically increase the likelihood that you'll get the best result. And then it just helps streamline the process of fulfillment so that you don't get overwhelmed. And it's not enough anymore to where you're just gonna go apply online and then you're just gonna everything's just gonna be good that way, right? I did that in 2021 when I got started. But you have to change as times change, right? You see all the stuff with the tariffs. So you gotta know that markets are always changing. We don't know what the banks are gonna do tomorrow. We just know that we have to stay up to date with changing times. So you got to know people on the inside if you're going to scale predictably. If you want to scale and not have a predictable system, then don't work with bank relationship managers. So you have to have these relationships to where you're literally texting these people. So I literally like on my IG stories, I'm always posting receipts of me having conversations with my BRMs just to show people what their reality could be. Because I used to work at a scamming ass 9 to 5. I used to work as a chemical engineer. I didn't like what I was doing. I was like, I can have freedom. I can have a greater purpose for what I'm doing. I was able to invest in myself multiple times. A lot of y'all watch me and you're just okay, I want that result, but you're not willing to do what I did. You didn't invest 10,000 with this mentor, 10,000 with that mentor, a few thousand with that mentor, right? Investing thousands of dollars into advertisement, losing a lot of money just to try to figure the shit out. So if you're not in that mindset, then you not don't complain when you don't get the result that someone else like myself does, right? So you gotta have these relationships. That's my whole main point. If you don't got these relationships already and you don't know how to properly vet them, then I just recommend you pay access to someone that does, right? Because there's certain questions you want to be asking bank relationship managers when you're establishing a relationship. It's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna be cheap and I see what he's saying online for free. I'm just gonna walk in the bank and establish all this relationship. Maybe you didn't vet them properly, right? You theoretically you could do that, right? But maybe you didn't vet them properly, right? I paid someone to teach me how to go about the process. And then now my students that paid me, they know how to go about the process. You're not special to where you don't have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself if you want to get to the next level, right? So again, it doesn't have to be me that you invest with, but I'm clearly the logical option because you're on my video, you know? So just think about that. So me knowing what I know now, if I didn't have all the relationships that I currently have, then I would just pay to get around someone personally that already has them so I can make money at the same time that I'm building my relationships. That's why my rich students are smart because they've invested in themselves. They're able to use these relationships while they're building their relationships. Because think about it. Let's say you're trying to build your own relationships right now, but you don't even know how to properly vet them. So you're wasting your time, right? You're wasting your time thinking you're doing something correctly when you're supposed to pay the person to get access and then you learn how to do it correctly while you're making money, right? This is why poor people will always be poor, the rich will always be rich because rich people we operate not in a scarcity mindset the same way that the poor do. So just keep that in mind. If you consider yourself a credit repair business owner, ask yourself if you know yourself. Ask yourself if you're cheap and you actually invest in yourself. So keep that in mind. So we don't know what bank regulations may happen later on. So now is the time to act and get out of that ego and scarcity mindset. Goes back to my thesis statement in the beginning. The devil uses fear of people wanting to take risks to literally block you from your blessings, right? This is biblical. This is not something that I just made up yesterday, right? This has been here before I was here, before you were here. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Last thing. So, number four, you're going to produce long form YouTube content. So, I recommend creating at least one long form video a week. Ideally, you should do more, but this is important because it's going to help the 7 hour rule. If you see me talk about the 7 hour rule, or if you haven't, it's basically the notion that people have to consume your content for at least 7 hours. If you haven't seen my video where I broke down the whole crackhead content consumption, you're going to want to go watch that video because that'll give you more insights into the psychology of content and why it's so important. I love marketing a lot because marketing is so special and magical because technically you don't got to be good at sales if your marketing is super on point. And that's what we've witnessed a lot within sales in our business, whether it's credit repair funding, whatever, right? Mentorship. So I say that to say you need to be consistently posting long form content. I highly recommend 2 to 3 times per week if you can get there because you're just making the process faster for people consuming your content, right? You're giving yourself more chances. And Even if that's not the case, you're getting more reps in because when you start, maybe you don't know how to get across your message the correct way. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content. You could use AI for video ideas like I've shown in my previous video. But when I say top of funnel content, it goes back to the, hold on. So top of funnel right here, right? New engagers. It's new people following you and everything. Middle funnel is going to be over here. Middle funnel is going to be you solving their problem. So showing them, okay, this is how you can strategically get this funding. This is why your stuff is getting denied. This is someone I helped get funding. So that would be more bottom of funnel content. Bottom of funnel is going to be like testimonials and personal stories. So showing your mindset, showing how you articulate. So those of y'all because a lot of y'all are that watch me, you're not struggling financially, right? So I'll just call it what it is. You're a rich business owner, maybe you're a rich 9 to 5 worker. A lot of y'all that vibe with me, you like the way that I articulate because I'm a voice of the rich, you know? So I say that to say it's important to show your personality too. But you should be yourself, right? Don't come on here trying to talk like somebody that you're not, right? Because I know a lot of people do copy people, but it's most important to be yourself. I'm myself. Only I could be the best Michael Benjamin, right? Somebody else trying to copy me is not going to be as good as me. They're going to be their best self of them, right? And vice versa. If I try to copy them, it's not going to work out. So it's important to be yourself at the end of the day too. So the hardest thing with all the shit we talked about today, in my opinion, my professional opinion is going to be the marketing side of things. The fulfillment is going to be pretty much simple, straightforward once you have those relationships. But the hardest thing of this is going to be the marketing side. So that's why I have a free guide for you. It's going to be in the description. It's going to be in the comment section as well. And it's going to help you get high quality leads, right? High quality clients so you can begin fulfilling and doing everything that I talked about in this video. Hopefully, this helps. Y'all let me know how everything's going for y'all. With that being said, y'all have a blessed one.